Pauline Rosalie Pajot was born September 19, 1935, to Leah and Leah Pajot. She grew up at the family farmhouse on Martin Lane in the small town of River Canard in Ontario, Canada. She is the fourth of 7 children: Vicky, Jer, Mark, Pauline, twins Ron and Don, and Bill.
When we went on a family reunion trip to Canada with her, we went to her old church, and their whole family fit in an entire long pew at church, and that was the Pajot pew.
She became a registered nurse and was working at a hospital called Hotel Dieu when she crossed paths with a handsome young man named Pauline Raham.
So he'd follow her around the hospital and, kept doing that until she decided to go on a date with him.
Pauline and Arnell got married in the late 50s. They moved to California so Arnell could take a job helping build the new animatronic model of Abraham Lincoln for the Hall of Presidents at Disneyland. They lived in Burbank and had the twins, Lisa and Lori, in 1961, then Jennifer in 1962, and Jeff in 1965. Then they moved back to Canada and had Julie in 1967. Then they moved to the family's permanent home base, 1895 Dorrit Street in Newbury Park, California. Pauline and Arnell divorced after close to 20 years together, leaving her to pick up the pieces.
My parents split up, and it was her with 5 kids, 3 jobs, a couple of cats, and it was a lot for her to take on.
She worked part-time at a doctor's office and also part-time for the school districts in the kitchen.
That wasn't easy for her, but she did what she had to do.
Mom, I remember when we were driving up to Mammoth and you were afraid that the big green station wagon or the Beast was going to overheat, but you still did it. We overheated 3, 4, 5 times, whatever it was. But we all pitched together and we were all eating sandwiches that you made. I think you must have made 100 sandwiches, but we did it.
In the 1980s, Pauline met Tom, a cardiac patient from her work. They fell in love and traveled the world.
She kind of blossomed, if you will. It was a new side of my mom that I hadn't seen maybe ever. She was kind of giddy and happy around him.
Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be forever because his condition was a bad heart, so that finally gave out. But it was a wonderful time for my mom to experience a second chance at love.
Pauline is known for her determination.
Mom is a no-nonsense person and lots of common sense.
My mom is a strong character. She definitely has her feelings of what's right and what's wrong, and that God is important to her.
I have always thought of you, Mom, as a woman of love, faith, and most of all, strength.
I would describe Pauline as being a very ethical, honest, hardworking, caring, and loving mom who never wavered in her commitment to her children whatsoever.
Everything that I really know about her life has come from stories from Jennifer and being around others, the family at different times, saying things about what they went through, what they all pulled together, how she kept it together, and I respect that.
Pauline is a strict but loving mom and grandma.
She would go through everybody's name if she was mad at somebody. She was Lori, Lisa, Jennifer, Jeff, Julie, you're in trouble. She'd go through all the names until she got the one that was right.
You have to be strict. You have to follow a regiment. Otherwise, there would be chaos. And yet she was very sweet and very kind and funny, and she just met every need for all of us.
I remember coming home from work one day, and she had taken Drew's, all his Matchbox cars, and lined them up, and it wrapped around and went down the hall to the kitchen. That's how many cars he had.
She says, "All right, Drew, we got to pick everything up."
Yep, clean up.
She would make him clean it all up.
What she says is what she says, and you better do it. But she'll always give you a smile after what she says.
For Pauline, family always comes first.
Mom always celebrated the big events in our lives, the confirmations and the first communions and graduations. No one was ever forgotten, ever.
How would I describe her as a person? Loving, generous, very resourceful, very, very, very hardworking, and super smart, wicked smart. Like I never saw grandma without a book.
Grandma makes everyone feel cared for. And she doesn't even have to try. It's just who she is.
She's a big hugger. She lets you know just in a hug how much she cares about you.
I like her wall of fame.
I definitely feel special every time I go over because I know I'm up there. So
that was just kind of one of those central places in my life and all of our lives where we could have that same cozy grandma feeling, and all the best memories I have happened there.
Everyone in the family benefited from Pauline's medical expertise in ways large and small.
Every time something would happen to us, she'd just take care of it. She would just make us feel better. And since my mom was a nurse, she could do anything.
And every mom on the street came to her with problems and relied on her for answers. And that made me really proud that my mom had those skills.
One time when I was little, I somehow fell on Pauline's metal front doorstep, and she fixed me right up until we could get to the hospital for some stitches. I still have the scar right here.
I also look back on how many times we saved ourselves trips to the emergency room because Mom was only a phone call away, calling her and asking her everything from running temperatures or just invaluable with the advice and the care and the love. I wish she'd moved back in.
When I had the blood clot. So she's been asking me for 13 years how my leg is and how my lungs are. So she remembers things that and she doesn't let them go, and it's sweet.
When I would be outside playing, if I ever scraped myself, she had this aloe plant in the front yard, and she would rip a piece off and break it in half and rub it on my cut.
You know, Mom, these last 6 months since I've been laid up after all those surgeries I had on my foot, you have been amazing. Your knowledge of nursing and obvious compassionate heart have really caused me to heal faster.
She's always there for you during good times and bad.
She was there at the hospital, and she offered her assistance, and she stayed for a week when our kids were born just to show me the rope.
We lived together for about a year. That it was a very tough time for me, my mother, and she just showed nothing but love and support. I love her a lot, and I hope in my adult years I can really show her and prove to her the man that she wanted me to become, that I can become that.
whenever I was sick, she'd always bring me back home and she'd make me mac and cheese and Kool-Aid and Jell-O and then just sit behind me and read her book.
Everyone raves about Pauline's cooking. She's the queen of comfort food.
I've always loved my mom's cooking, always.
Sundays were for family, and we'd come home from church and we'd have bacon and eggs every Sunday.
She invited me for Sunday dinners. I look forward to it every Sunday, going and eating with the family.
I got indoctrinated into meat pie and rhubarb pie, and there wasn't a single Sunday night dinner that did not include dessert.
I now always keep some cut up rhubarb in the freezer so that I can make a rhubarb pie whenever I'm in the mood, because that's what Grandma used to do.
I think one of my favorites is her spaghetti. To this day, I will not order spaghetti in a restaurant. I use my mom's recipe.
Your spaghetti is the best in the world. No questions about it.
I feel like everyone's top two are going to be the lemon bars and meat pie. When I think of our family, those are the foods I think of.
I love the Pajot meat pie. I make it every year for my family. I'm also a big fan of Aunt Pauline's date squares, and she had the most iconic old school cookie jar.
There was never a time when there weren't cookies in there.
All my friends would always ask, is there any cookies in the cookie jar? Because if they are, we're coming over.
Whether they were chocolate chip or M&Ms, there was always something filled there for you to snack on.
She would tell me no more cookies in front of my mom, but the second my mom turned around, she would always give me another one.
When I think about like my childhood or family get-togethers and stuff like that, it was always just like Grandma in the kitchen cooking like amazing food.
Icebox cakes or her pinwheels.
Cocoa bars.
Rice Krispie treats.
And the jam. She would always make good jam too.
Everyone has their own special memory with Pauline.
Being one of five, it was rare growing up that you'd get mom all to yourself. It would be my Saturday to go to the grocery store with my mom, and it was like next to Christmas.
When we moved from Canada to California, they wouldn't let Lori and I be in the same class anymore. And we took a trip to La Brea Tar Pits. So I was just so happy that she was there with me, just me.
At one point during my medical career, my mom joined me at the doctor's office that I was working at. And our fun little thing was we'd hide a Coke in the refrigerator with all the medical samples, and we'd split a Coke every day in the lab for a break time.
My mom and I became American citizen together. There must have been like 800 to 1,000 people there, and we all got sworn in. And
it was the first time it happened in Ventura County.
What a great addition to this nation when you guys all became citizens. You were so proud to hold that flag. You were so proud. You know, one time we surprised you with Pippe at your front porch. We ding-dong ditched you, and you opened the door, and we were watching from afar. And oh my gosh, what an excited look you had on your face. You know, the time that he spent here, you often have said were some of the happiest times of your life.
Whenever I take my mom to church, we'll each give each other a little pinky hug with our pinky fingers in church. Just to touch each other, let each other know that we love each other. And I'm always going to remember that.
If you know Grandma, you know that she loves all of her dried leaves, and every fall I try and collect leaves in my neighborhood and I'll send them to her. The craft that she would have for me and any of the other grandkids there would be to make stained glass window pane crafts, where you would take the leaves between two pieces of wax paper and then iron them together.
Some of my fondest memories with Grandma are taking walks with her with that little red wagon and collecting leaves together.
There was never a time that Grandma didn't have like a little Kleenex stuffed in her cardigan sweater, sleeve right here, so that when a kid was crying or had a runny nose, she just had it ready. I always have a tissue in every single purse and coat pocket because Grandma taught me that.
I spent probably 4 or 5 years just like hanging out with her every day of every summer. And it really just built up my childhood and kind of made me who I am today. Every time she sees me, she always goes crazy over my hair, and she like ruffles it up a lot, and she just loves the curls.
I got my first skateboard. She was so ecstatic that she took the skateboard and rode the skateboard in the backyard. And everybody in the family was, "Oh my God, Grandma, no." And she did it, and she got off. And she looked at everyone and just smiled.
That was just the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
We're both born in September, and so we have the same birthstone. So we have a shared appreciation for all things sapphire.
Almost every single birthstone item that I own is from Grandma. This is such a random memory, but every time I'm like cutting an orange, I kind of try to replicate this way that she did it. She would like cut the rind off and then slice the individual slices all nicely and put it in a little glass bowl with like a tiny fork. And I just will always remember that.
Anytime I needed to be picked up from school, when I had cheer, whenever I had games and stuff, she would come and see me. Since I am going to school for dental hygiene, her being a very nurturing and well-educated individual who could help anyone and everyone really just drove me to do what I'm doing today.
This was like a month ago, and I was like sitting on the ground next to her, just looking at like pictures of her when she was, a lot younger, and that was like really neat. Over the like past several months of me staying there, it's been really cool just to kind of like rekindle like my relationship with her a bit and be able to spend time with her. That's something that like means a lot to me.
She is very wise, always full of good advice that makes a lasting impression.
She has been there for me during times when I was going through some pretty rough stuff. I remember I saw her and she like offered me some like really genuine like advice. And so I just have like a really special place in my heart for my grandma.
It's strange. I'm 62 and I still, when I'm met with something, I still think, what would Mom do?
When she would take me to the library, I would look at a lot of art books. I'm currently pursuing a career in art, and it really did pave a way.
She had a way of making every holiday special.
Easter egg hunts in her backyard, and Thanksgiving, meals with, the kitchen table with some of the adults, and then a long, long string of card tables running through the family room.
But Christmas is a veritable extravaganza.
You would make our Christmases so special every single year. It would be just magical. The stockings would be filled with wonderful things. And we'd come running down Christmas morning, all of us, and wow, look at this. Oh my gosh, Santa was really here,
We all had to go together, and then we'd turn on the light, and it would just be a sea of presents.
The little tangerines she'd always put in the bottom of everyone's Christmas stocking that happened every year.
I always loved that bright blue threaded Christmas ornament with the pearl decorations, and I was mesmerized by that 1970s oil lamp. Let's hear it for a few Paulineisms, eh?
My pet name was Honey Girl because I was really blonde when I was born, and I actually find myself calling Samantha Honey Girl too.
She would always shout my name, Nikki, and just give a big hug, and yeah, she still calls me by my toddler name.
Couple of words that I associate with Grandma. She'd be like, "You little Dickens."
Like, she is one of the most sarcastic people I've ever met, and I love that about her.
Pauline was a big part of many family vacations.
I've so much enjoyed all of our little trips that we've taken together to Sedona, to Seattle and Vancouver, to the Grand Canyon, and all of our little trips that we've taken have meant the world to me.
On the Canadian road trip, that was when me, Steph, and Nick came up with the nickname of G-Ma for Grandma. This was like in the era when G was for like gangsta, so she was G-Ma. She was our gangster mom. And that has still stuck around to this day. And she now signs our birthday cards, G-Mom.
So happy 90th birthday, Aunt Pauline.
Well, Mom, happy birthday. You're 19 again. Oh, I mean 90.
It's just been wonderful to have you as a mom, and happy birthday.
We hope that your 90th birthday is filled with joy and laughter and happiness, because we love you so much.
I would never ask for a different Grandma. You've been the best, and I love you, and we all love you, and we're so lucky.
What a milestone. And thank you for single-handedly bringing forth a entire generation of people who love you and respect you and really look up to you.
I love you, Grandma, and I love you a lot more than you know, and I hope you have an amazing birthday, and I can't wait to see you again.
Happy birthday, Grandma! We love you.
Bye.
Bye. There we go.